One of these men is a highly respected New York attorney, Lucas A. Ferrara. The other is a self-proclaimed man of the people, known as Mert Roberts. Their aim is to discuss the hottest issues impacting our city, state, and nation. Fasten your seatbelts. Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live, starts now on AM 970. The Answer.
That one, Alice.
All right, good evening, Lucas. This is Unresolved Tension by Elijah K.
Great choice, given our next topic. It involves a lot of unresolved tension, that's for sure. And the source? Well, how about social media? The internet, for starters, our digital playground. It's where many of us argue, laugh, cry, cancel, uncancel, and sometimes post pictures of our lunch. Or better yet, those stupid bathroom selfies. I never understood the attraction of that. And Alex, our producer, is famous for that, isn't he, Gabby?
He definitely posts way too much, in my opinion, on social media. As much as I love him, I gotta be honest.
Alex Garrett is in addition to having a 5-star rated podcast, is the selfie king. But beneath all of that scrolling and posting,
zonking myself in that case.
Oh, bless you. But beneath all of that scrolling and posting lies an important question that burns hotter than TikTok thread on a Friday night. Who actually decides what we're allowed to say online? Now, welcome to the never-ending tug-of-war between free speech and platform moderation. It's messy, it's political, it's philosophical, and it's personal, because whether you're a meme lord, a political junkie, or just someone trying to avoid spoilers for the latest movie or streaming it, this debate impacts you. Get ready, Mert. Let's start with the basics. In the United States, the First Amendment says the government can't stop you from speaking your mind. That's set. Now, it means you can criticize politicians, write weird poetry, start a podcast about conspiracy theories involving lizard people and the moon landing. The government cannot shut you down for that. But here's the twist, Mert. Private companies aren't the government. So Twitter, which is now X, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, they're all private platforms. They can set their own rules. If they want to ban discussions about pineapple on pizza, they can do that. That's not First Amendment. That's just a terms of service thing. Still, Mert, when these platforms perform pivotal, much like Public Square sort of, and start censoring, the lines start to get real blurry. If you're kicked off Facebook or X, are you being silenced, or are you just being told, take your megaphone elsewhere? And is it fair? What do you think, Mert?
Well, I think you must be really passionate about this, because that was a nice little soliloquy you went on right there.
Haven't you gotten banned? I've gotten banned. I've gotten comments, posts removed.
Whoa.
How about you? Have you had that?
I've never been banned because I've never posted anything, controversial.
I've had comments removed.
When you ask the question about is it okay? Fair? Is it fair? It's absolutely fair, because these are owned by private companies for the most part. Now, if the government creates a social media app, then you would have a case. But since these are private institutions that created these apps and these platforms, for profit, I might add. A lot of these are, most of these are for profit to make money.
Very
make money off of them. So if they want to determine who could be on the platforms, because somebody who's racist, somebody who's sexist, somebody who, whatever the bad person, whatever their beliefs are, it could mess up the money. And you're a capitalist, you love making money, and you understand if somebody is going to cause your business to look bad, you want to get rid of that individual. So this is no different. Now people are trying to say that it's so successful that you're limiting free speech because everybody's on social media.
That's right.
Well, if that's the case, let the government take over it, and let's do that with other businesses as well. Let's take over Walmart because Walmarts are all over the place. Let's take over all these drugstores, these CVSs. Let's take over everything.
That's your friend, comrade, Mom Dummy, or as Lois Weiss famously said yesterday, Ma'am Dummy. Look,
but what I'm trying to say is,
thank you.
That was a good one. That was good that you hit that with that response, Alex. Good work right there. But what I will say is, you got to be careful, Lucas, because you're making this personal. It's not personal. It's all about business. And if you're saying or promoting things that these platforms don't like, you're going to get removed. You need to abide by their rules.
Yeah, but you know what the problem is, and Gabby and Alex, feel free to chime in. You spend years developing a following. You don't develop following overnight, right? And then all of a sudden, this private platform, whatever it may be, Facebook, X, whatever, TikTok, decides you're not allowed to post anymore because someone objected. Someone, by the way, I posted someone else found it offensive. They don't tell me who it is, which is fine, but they don't tell me what the problem was.
Why don't you do this in the opposite? Can you just do this in the opposite? I spent 20 years creating Facebook, and I'm going to let it blow up because somebody wants to say they hate such and such, and I'm not going to remove it. So everybody says, you know what, since this individual company is racist or they platform racist or they platform sexist, then we're going to move to another platform who will remove that person. So I'm not going to sacrifice my business for someone who built up a following using my platform, and I couldn't check and verify with everybody that they're doing this stuff. So you got to look. No, it's not. You shouldn't be saying stuff.
It takes years of work. Ask Alex. Alex posts 100 times a day. It takes a lot of work to develop a following. Right, Alex?
I mean, look, yeah, I'm proud of the page I've developed. I don't know if I post thousands of times a day or hundreds, but I'm proud of the development I've developed.
200 times a day. But can you imagine if you got banned from Instagram? Then
I don't know what I would do, actually. No, I'm just kidding. I would survive.
Well, he's free to create an Instagram of his own and start his own following there.
You don't understand, Merbert.
Exactly. Years. You just said it right there. It would take years, just like these.
But to Mert's point, I also don't think we should say whatever the heck we want on social media.
Easy there. I
don't think we should say whatever the heck we want. If we have a platform, we should be measured on it. That's kind of the whole thing too.
Absolutely. See, he just made a excellent point right there. You have a responsibility to ensure that whoever platform that you're using, you are respectful to what they believe in as well.
The rules aren't always cleared, is what I'm trying to tell you. Someone found a food post that I did. Really, I did food reviews for a while. Someone found a food review that I did. I guess it was the restaurant. I don't know. Offensive, because I gave an honest review. They banned the post, right? They locked me out for 2 days, 3 days. And trust me, there was nothing offensive in it. There was no porn. There was no curse words. Nothing that you would think was untoward. I'm a lawyer. I'm not going to do anything stupid. But I did make honest assessments of the food, which were not so favorable. And they banned me for 2 days. Yeah, it's stupid. Because, look, people are fragile and they get offended very easily. But because you're offended doesn't mean that I should be silenced. But I get some of the stuff online is toxic. I get it. We're talking hate speech, harassment, doxing, misinformation, deep fakes, and all kinds of digital nastiness. I get it, Mert. You have a point. They moderate the content to keep things safe, legal, and advertiser friendly, as you said, because no brand wants their ad for milk or cereal showing up next to a neo-Nazi rant or a flag. Yeah, go.
I'm going to say this. I don't just have a point. I have the sharpest point. That's the sharpest point. That's the most deadliest point you could ever. Exactly. If somebody, you just said it, my cereal is meant for kids, and it's showing up next to a
Nazi
whatever.
Yeah,
yes, a Nazi thing, whatever you want to say. I don't like that, and I'm giving a lot of money to this platform to promote my business. I can complain just like you can complain about, hey, I should be able to say whatever I want. Well, if you want to do that, why don't you kick in and donate your money to the platform so that they can look at the cereal company and say, well, he's bringing in more money, so we'll have to let him say whatever he wants to say. That's how it works. So my point is the sharpest and deadliest point. No other point rivals mine. Just understand that. That is the final point in this. It's all about money. And if you have a company out there, and it's a private company, and you don't want some Lucas Ferrara tearing your business down because he wants to complain about tacos, okay? And your biggest advertiser is Taco Bell. You don't want him ruining your business.
Well, you know what I think some of the problem, one of the major problems is, guys, there's a federal law, okay? I don't want to bore people, but it's called Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which protects these platforms from liability. The law prevents these platforms from being sued, Mert, and it allows platforms to remove or moderate content without being liable for what they leave up or take down. So that, I think, is unfair. I think it gives these private companies too much power, too little accountability, and I think that what should be done, and I wonder if you agree, drop the immunity given by federal law, because I think litigation is the great equalizer. Most businesses can be sued. There shouldn't be an exception for TikTok, Facebook, X, or other platforms. This should be fair game, and watch how quickly they get in line, Mert. Because when their pockets, and I'm making a point to your point, and when their pockets are going to be threatened, now they're going to be more respectful, and they will moderate more responsibly. What say you?
Well, I'm going to have to say we need to keep that immunity because we need to keep the immunity because it is still possible for these platforms to be, and this is a term that people, who are online, they would know about this. It's called a shadow ban.
Right.
It's where you still have access to all the features that everybody else does. Right. You just quietly removed from the algorithm. You just pushed aside.
That's right.
Same thing can happen with these platforms. Okay, so they don't get sued or whatever. They don't get disturbed. There's no lawsuit you can launch at them, but people just walk away. And then all the money walks away.
It's a form of silencing, Mert, and they don't tell you they're silencing you. There's no transparency when it comes to this algorithm stuff. And some people don't grow followers. Other people get exponential followers. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And a lot of people question the fairness of that, too.
You got to be careful with this because what you're going to do is you're going to lead to, new dating laws where I was calling this girl. She was answering my phone calls. And now she doesn't want to answer the phone calls anymore. She's ghosting me. I want to sue for pain and suffering. See, you're going to lead to that type of stuff. It's that lady's right to stop answering your phone calls. She's not interested in you anymore. It's Facebook, Instagrams, YouTube's. Right. It's their right to say, we don't want to deal with you no more. We're not answering the phone call. We're not attracted to you anymore. You got to go somewhere else. Move on.
Well, you know why that's also happening is so on X you can get an $11 a month subscription to post. I wonder if they're leaning into those people more than say the free users. Is that what you're thinking here, Mert?
Well, that's actually a new direction. That's a new direction. That's a new direction because you could offer that girl, hey, I'll give you $500 to keep talking to me, and she might answer the phone.
Mert.
It's the same thing.
Such an imagination. Gabby, doesn't he have a wild imagination?
I was just about to say, most definitely. It always comes back to women. I don't know how, but it always does.
Watch it, Gabby. He's going to say he can arm wrestle you if you're not careful.
I know. That's going to be his next topic of conversation.
Yeah, Gabby, better watch out. We could take bets on that, and I'll clean up.
She'll only arm wrestle if you give her like $11 a month to participate in the arm wrestling or something, according to your logic, Bert.
But you know what the problem is, Mert? Who is setting these algorithms? See, this is the problem. Whether it's a bot or whether it's some human, these algorithms are being set by somebody, and there's not clear disclosure about it. There's no transparency.
Even if they disclose it, you're not going to be able to understand it because this is high-level technology here. This is something that...
Mert, if I'm being shadow banned, I should be told I'm being shadow banned. If it's going to, because if I'm talking to myself and no one is listening, what is the point of me posting? Alex, don't you see?
I totally agree. In fact, I watch X and I see people in distress. Like, hey, can you see my posts? Am I being hidden? Like, people are getting emotionally stressed out. This is a psychological thing going on as well.
Right, because they're being silenced.
And they're not being told about it. I think that's your point here.
Told. I think that's problematic. I think that there needs to be a shift. There needs to be a change. And look, how difficult is it for them to disclose what the algorithm prefers or doesn't prefer? I mean, you know what I mean, Mert?
It might be easy as just saying, hey, sending out an email, or it could be very difficult because it might be AI or something that's monitoring all this stuff, and they might not actually want to pay attention to who they're actually shadow banning. They might not want to have a personal connection, and they might override and make exceptions. It might be a situation where it's okay, if they're saying this, this, and this, let the system do what it does, and let's not even think about it. So it could be that situation where you don't want to know.
The system is broken, Merton, in my humble opinion. And with some of the easy recommendations, they should disclose how their engines work, who gets boosted, what's get buried.
Well,
and why,
that creates a problem. That creates a competition problem where somebody else might use their technology. You know, these people don't want you to know how these things work. They spend a lot of time figuring out all this stuff. So they're not going to release all that stuff. They're going to say it's a competitive thing where I don't want my competition knowing this stuff.
If your post gets taken down, you should be able to challenge or appeal, not just to a bot, but to a real human being. I don't want to talk to a machine, and I've had problems with that. They should set the rules. The rules should be clear. If they don't like political posts, they should say that. If they don't like sex talk, they should say that. But then you know what the game plan is. You know what I'm saying, Mert? What's fair is fair.
It's social media. Social values and social constructs change all the time. What's good today might be wrong tomorrow. So you can't just put stuff out there in black and white like that. Or it would be in your best interest not to do that because you don't want to pin yourself in. So, go ahead.
Where does that leave us? If we want a digital town square that reflects our values, we have to build it. That means pushing for better moderation, not just more or less of it. It means transparency, as I was saying, accountability and nuance. It means recognizing that speech is power, and that power should be wielded wisely. That's the problem, Mert. They have too much power. And platforms aren't perfect, but neither are the users, I get it. But together, we can shape an internet that's open, safe, and vibrant, one where voices are heard, harm is minimized, and the rules make sense. We don't know the rules, Mert, and that's part of the problem. Speech isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. And moderation isn't just a chore, it's a choice about who we are, what we value, and how we live together online. So let's choose wisely, let's speak boldly, and let's moderate with a little bit more care. While on the topic of speaking boldly, may I be so bold as to welcome you to episode 74 of Shake It Off with Bert and Lucas Live. We are well into our second year of broadcasting this great show, and we are so happy to have you along with us for this ride. 74, Mert. Come on, let's hear an amen. Amen. This, by the way, is Lucas Ferrara. We're ever mindful. Without you, we are nothing. And you've been hearing from my wonderful co-host. They call him the Mertinator, none other, the man of the people, Mert Roberts. Working the board is Alex Garrett. He's got a great podcast, One Leg Up with Alex Garrett. And Princess Gabby Pisani, his fiancée, is honoring us, gracing us with her presence. After this break, we'll have some special guests for you, particularly Michael Bedenbaugh. He's the author of Reviving Our Republic. Don't touch that dial unless you're drafting a new constitution. Come back, because you need to help us keep the Republic revving.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 1250 Broadway in New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate. Unity Bank is dedicated to community-oriented banking and offers a full range of services, including business and personal accounts, business loans, and mortgages. Unity has locations throughout New Jersey and in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, expanding its footprint to 21 retail locations. Grow your savings with their great CD specials. Visit unitybank.com to find out more. Unity Bank is also a great place to work. As Unity Bank President and CEO James Hughes says, the people make Unity Bank a great place to work. We give our employees an opportunity to grow. At Unity Bank, there are no excess layers of bureaucracy as found at Goliath-sized banks. All employees have full access to management with encouragement to make decisions and grow their careers. Visit unitybank.com. That's unitybank.com for current CD and savings specials. They are FDIC insured, an equal opportunity employer, and an equal housing lender. Unity Bank, growing with you. Hey, it's Joe Piscopo, and I'm talking to my friends right here in Jersey. Toyotathon is on at Route 22 Toyota in Hillside, New Jersey, and they're celebrating the holidays with the biggest event of the year. If a new ride is on your wish list, this is the moment. Route 22 Toyota has incredible deals on all your favorite models, and for qualified buyers, you can save big with leases starting at just $99 a month or 0.99 financing for up to 72 months. Plus, check out their huge selection of pre-owned and Toyota certified used vehicles at Route22Toyota.com. End of year incentives could get you out of what you're driving now and into a brand new Toyota for the same or even less than you're paying today. Call 973-705-8905 to get all the details and schedule a risk-free appraisal. That's 973-705-8905. Let the team at Route 22 Toyota in Hillside, New Jersey upgrade your vehicle and have you driving into 2026 in style. Toyotathon is on now at Route 22 Toyota.
Fearless conversations and sharp analysis of the stories that matter. It's the Aaron Mullins Show, now available on the Salem Podcast Network.
I do find it a little bit off-putting when someone has a history of calling others out for being complicit via their silence to then occupy that space themselves. The hypocrisy is the issue I have.
The Aaron Mullins Show on the Salem Podcast Network. Subscribe today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Town Hall News, where conservative voices cut through the noise from breaking headlines to fearless opinion. We report what matters without apology, written by people who actually believe what you believe. Town Hall tells the stories the corporate press buries, from President Trump to Capitol Hill, from pivotal elections to your everyday lives. Join the movement at townhall.com. Real stories, real reporters, real conservative media.
Welcome back to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live on AM 970, The Answer.
What's that one called, Alex? I like it.
All right, so this is heroic, patriotic background music by Background Music Videos for Videos. That's the artist.
great choice, Alex, given our next guest. Michael Bedenbaugh is an author, speaker, and advocate whose work bridges historic preservation, constitutional principles, and civic renewal. A former president and executive director of Preservation South Carolina, he spearheaded initiatives that proved the economic and cultural power of preserving America's heritage, blending practical solutions with deep respect for traditions. He is the author of Reviving Our Republic and host of the podcast Reviving Our Republic with Mike Bedenbaugh, where he explores the intersection of history, politics, and community development. With a unique blend of grassroots activism and constitutional insight, Michael challenges audiences to rediscover America's founding ideals and apply them to modern governance. A native of Prosperity, South Carolina, Michael remains deeply engaged in his home state while contributing to national conversations on civic engagement. His work embodies the conviction that understanding our past is essential to shaping a stronger, more principled future. Welcome to the program, Michael.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thank y'all so much.
It is great to have you, and I'm glad we were able to finally connect. We have the Mertonator, Michael, Mert Roberts, who wants to start asking you questions. Go ahead, Mert.
Well, Mr. Bedenbaugh, I want to get right into it. And I want to pose a question for you specifically, to challenge how you think. Do you think it's your job to try to understand how people have shifted from this society of we need to get away from, Europe and all that tyranny and all that persecution and all that holding us back, and we need to create something to strengthen ourselves, to where we're now the ones in charge. We're the number one country. We're kind of leading the way without a roadmap. It's just all, endless possibilities. So when people are deciding they want to focus on this, that, or the other, it gets us away from the original principles of this country that may have been principles to begin with out of necessity, because of what we were going through trying to establish this country. So in your opinion, do you think it's really, or I would ask you, is it possible that it's up to, individuals such as yourself who are trying to get people to rediscover those old traditions to adapt and understand why we're not going back to those old ways of thinking? What do you think about that?
Well, okay, so I wrote the book because America was able to have a constitutional democratic republic because of developing a structure around which, and rules of the road around which that would work. Mm-hmm. And what my premise of my book is, over the past century, we have slowly eroded away from those basic tenets of how we govern ourselves as a federal republic. And we've turned into a giant mega power in the world, and the type of systems that make a mega power thrive and be the number one nation in the world, period, versus just a nation that elevates liberty for its citizens are two different things. And so I see the problem we have now is the growing pains of that, and I think it's important we go back to the mindset that this nation was started because of people wanting to aspire for freedom. We were very flawed in the beginning, but we set ways to make that work, and we need to start remembering that, and we don't. It's to our peril.
But you said something very important right there. That's a very important word you use, freedom. Do you really think Americans are concerned with that word freedom, or do they feel very free to pursue and, I want to be a Instagram, TikTok star, I want to be a podcaster, I want to be a basketball player. The freedom to do whatever you want instead of having to actually be concerned about your freedom of, well, I don't want Britain to come take over us. Don't you see that we feel very free, and isn't that a good thing? You saying that's a bad thing? Isn't that a good thing?
No, I didn't say it's a bad thing. No, I mean, liberty. Here's the thing about liberty: it's about faith in our faith in individualism, faith in our fellow citizens, that their freedom to be themselves does not mean something against my freedom to be me. Right. And part of the genius of our nation when it was first formed was a federal system, so the states could, South Carolina is not the same as California or Massachusetts. So the local issues were federalized, and we've forgotten that aspect of it.
When you talk about reviving the republic, Mike, what does that mean in practical terms? Can you explain that? What do you mean?
So the inspiration for me writing the book was inspired by two things. One, George Washington's farewell address, because I've seen the past 10 years, and especially in the presidential debate in 2015, the first time when all the Republicans up there, it really, to me, I saw the culmination of a vulgar, consumptive society who's turning our politics into a worldwide wrestling match. And it's well, I understand, but that's entertainment.
I got you. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
No, but the thing is, we have to start looking and taking seriously the fact that it's not about just stimulating the glands of entertainment and trauma. We have to start thinking seriously about real policy within the guidelines of how our Constitution works. And we've forgotten that. So what I did was I took George Washington's farewell address, and I used Washington because I fully believe our nation would not exist without his leadership in the first 8 years as president.
Now, let me ask
you. Go ahead.
Can you make any money with this mentality? Because I'm thinking to myself, the reason that it's turned into pro wrestling is because, the most flamboyant, the most entertaining is going to get the most money, the most donations. So we're being driven in that direction. So can we turn?
Absolutely.
You get what I'm trying to ask you here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's what happened to Rome. What kept the Caesars in power was bread and circuses.
Right.
And so what the founders understood that. Washington and Adams and all these guys understood that, which is why they tried to create a federalized government with checks and balances, because they knew people have a tendency to coagulate the emotions around someone who can entertain them better. They understood that. So they put in a limited federal government, a limited presidential power, limited power and narrow divisions of where the power could be used between the House of Representatives and the Senate or the judiciary. And those things, my point in the book is they have eroded. So this trauma issues we have now with this dysfunction has happened because those systems that were meant to guard those, the guardrails have fallen. And my book just goes into, here's the ways we can put them back. And when I ran as an independent for Congress, I had as many conservatives as liberals in the room agreeing with 80% of the things I was saying, because it's a structural issue, not a social policy issue to me.
Can you give us an example quickly? We have about a minute before we go to a commercial, but you'll come back after the commercial. But can you give us?
Yeah. Well, here's the biggest thing is the difference between natural persons that are citizens and artificial personas as corporations. That is not distinguished as separate in our Constitution, and we need to get it in there. Okay? Because that's why Citizens United was decided the way it was. We need to now fix it to make sure that power, money from corporations is mitigated.
Oh, yes, the evil corporations. Let's talk about that after the break. Michael, we have to go. But have no fear, Michael Bedenbaugh will be rejoining us after these quick commercial messages. For more information about Mike and his book, check out MikeBedenbaugh.com. We'll spell his name later. Or RevivingOurRepublic.com. That's easier. We'll post links to Mike and his book on our website, Shake It Off Live. Mert, Alex, Gabby, Mike, and I want you to stay tuned. Don't touch that dial unless you've got George Washington on standby. We'll be back to keep liberty alive.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 1250 Broadway in New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate, on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
Wish there was an easier way to navigate the world of real estate? If only there was a way to learn from the best. Well, now there is. Saturdays at 10 a.m., our very own Dottie Herman, Vice Chair of Douglas Elliman, gives you the inside track to what is hot in real estate. Stay one step ahead in today's seller's market as Dottie gives her tips on how to make it through the tricky waters of real estate. Doesn't matter if you're new to the game or a seasoned vet, you need to listen to Eye on Real Estate. Dottie and her terrific team of experts will guide you as sellers and buyers to make sure you're getting the best value for your property. Whether you want to become a real estate agent or work within the business, there's no better person to learn from than the great Dottie Herman. She's a legend. She's the best, period. Tune in to Eye on Real Estate, Saturdays at 10 a.m., here on AM 970, The Answer. That's Eye on Real Estate. Don't miss it, Saturdays at 10 a.m., here on AM 970, The Answer.
Hey, it's Joe Piscopo. If you need a Cadillac, you have to see my good friend Bill Camastro at Gold Coast Cadillac, awarded Cadillac Dealer of the Year 27 times. Bill's team is the gold standard of customer service from start to finish. It's first class all the way. Speaking of service, are you a part of the Gold Club yet? Bill takes care of you, your family, and friends with the Gold Coast Cadillac Gold Club. Sign up online at goldcoastcadillac.com for service benefits that you can share with friends and family, even if they didn't buy from Gold Coast. Gold Coast Cadillac is getting even bigger and better with its brand new service facility. Gold Coast Cadillac in Oakhurst, New Jersey. Bill took care of me. He'll take care of you too. Shop goldcoastcadillac.com or call Bill directly at 845-568-7336. 845-568-7336.
We can tell you about the incredible success we bring to local businesses, but it's better when it comes directly from our satisfied clients. Here's just one example.
After searching for a new vendor to handle my search marketing campaign, I contacted Salem Surround after seeing the great work they did for another restoration company in the different market. Their team of experts recommended a mix of multiple tactics designed to get my business the most quality leads at the lowest cost, making my marketing budget stretch further. In our first year partnering with Salem Surround, we recorded our best year to date, and I've told many people how blessed I was to find them. The representative answered the phone every time I called and quickly addressed any questions or concerns I had.
Let Salem Surround give you an absolutely free audit of your current marketing and show you what your competition is doing. Then, we come up with a personalized plan that's perfect for your needs. Google Salem Surround New York and let our marketing experts help you achieve real success. Remember to Google Salem Surround New York today.
Welcome back to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live on AM 970, The Answer.
Welcome back. We've been speaking with Mike Bedenbaugh, a Navy veteran, historic preservationist and author of Reviving Our Republic, 95 Theses for the Future of America. It's a reform blueprint rooted in America's founding principles. He has led Preservation South Carolina, run for Congress, and continues to champion civic renewal through writing, advocacy, and his podcast, Perspective with Mike Bedenbaugh. For more information about Mike and his book, check out MikeBedenbaugh.com. That's Mike, BEDENBAUGH.com, or more simply, RevivingOurRepublic.com. We'll post links to Mike and his book on our website, ShakeItOffLive.com. Now, Mike, before the break, you were talking about evil corporations. Now, under the law, my understanding is that corporations are considered people. They're persons, and that gives them a lot of rights. And unfortunately, thanks to Citizens United, that's allowed them to meddle in the political process. And you were making a comment about that?
Yeah, well, I want to be clear. I'm not labeling them as evil, because corporations have a very useful tool for money and sheltering things. The problem is the corporate power that is able to take it without it being limited is taking the place of citizenship. And so we need to distinguish that. And the 14th Amendment that Citizens United was based on, among some other things, was the fact of personhood and what has access to freedom of speech. And most people don't think corporations should be able to influence the money power corporations to be able to influence our elected officials. And if we were to change that to be from artificial personas versus natural persons that the 14th Amendment addresses, I think they'll take care of that. I mean, when I ran for Congress, I had my opponent, I was an independent. My opponent that was Republican, she raised $900,000 for her campaign in this little district down here, which is obscene, and a third of that was from outside corporate money.
Wow.
So that's one of the other things is, I think, another thing that we could do to help mitigate the if money is speech, then allow the fact that whoever can vote for you are the only individuals that can give your campaign money. Period.
There you go. I think that makes absolute sense, and I agree with you 110%. Now, our producer-engineer, Alex Garrett, has a question for you, Mike. So go ahead, Alex.
Hey, this has been an awesome conversation, but I know that some people get driven crazy when we're called a democracy, but we're really a republic. Do you want to expand on that, how there is a big difference here?
Well, it's a difference, but I think it's been overused and a little over-politicized. I mean, a republic is a form of democratic system to where people elect through democratic processes their representatives. Now, in its purest form, the perfect thing is a democracy is where people vote for the laws that affect them. We are a representative democracy where we vote for people to make the laws for us. We basically designate people to do it for us so we can go about our own work. And so that's really the only difference. And the fact of the republic is that, and a federal republic where we have that power divided among multiple states.
Look, I love your thesis number 81, and I want to talk about it for a minute. Get ready for this. You believe in abolishing property taxes. Why?
Well, I was down here during a huge revolution we had in 2006 in South Carolina, where our county had not done the property tax in 15 years, and all of a sudden people's property tax had been turned over, and it went up almost 5 times, and people were at risk of losing their home. Listen, property tax had a useful purpose back in the 19th century when there was no income tax, and property was basically the foundation of your income. You made your income off your land, and that's why property tax was in place. However, now it's unnecessary. I think it's very corrupted, because here in South Carolina you assess commercial property more than individual property. But here in South Carolina, commercial property is what people use to rent. And so the people who pay more taxes are the renters, which causes rents to go up. So it corrupts the system of ownership.
But how do you fund schools and social services, Mike? Because that's where a lot of the property tax money goes. Raise income
That's
tax.
where it does. Yep, you're right. And that's the type of discussion we need to have. We showed in South Carolina that 3 cents would fund everything we needed in South Carolina. And not only that, but, we have some areas in South Carolina, like on the I-95 corridor. Anybody driving from New York down to Florida, you drive along the I, that's called the corridor of shame because those counties are so impoverished. Well, they don't have the funding for their schools that they do up in Greenville, very flourishing areas. So what we proposed down here was 3 cents. It will fund everything, put in more money than the property tax does, and evenly distribute the funds per child all over the state. So you don't have that discrepancy between poor counties versus richer counties. And then you also have that same sales tax on other things and property. Say you produce something off your land, you could get the 3 cent sales tax on that. And that would do more than fund everything we need.
So you're into sales taxes, but not property taxes. A lot of people object to that, too. But let me ask you this.
I understand.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Your thesis 35 through 37, you believe that states are better at managing services than Washington is. But have you heard about Minnesota and the billions of dollars lost in Minnesota? So how do you reconcile your theory or your theses with what's happening in some states like Minnesota?
Well, here's the thing. Every government structure is going to be subject to corruption based on how people aren't involved in it. All I'm saying is that the more we divide up that power and have people responsible for their own regions, then it will, I'd rather have 50 experiments in how government is funded than one that constantly hits a whiplash between one side or the other every 4 to 8 years, where everybody's affected the same way. Because right now what we're doing just isn't working at all. And sure, there will be some states that won't do it as well. There will be some states that do it better than the states that don't do it well. They'll see the states that do it better and work on it. I mean, nothing is guaranteed in a nation like ours. It takes work. And I just think it would be better, and it was better until we had more centralization of our social services in the 60s and 70s. It would be better the more different ways people can around the country have their own system in their own community that fits with them culturally better.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead, Bert. Go ahead.
Do you feel, and we talked about this last week, do you feel like if we force companies to pay people, especially companies who could afford it, because it'd be very difficult to do this, but if you could force companies to pay people a certain amount to, keep up with inflation, would that eliminate a lot of issues we have with this country where people are having difficulty affording rents? Well, if you're forcing, major companies over a certain, income or, profits to pay their people a certain amount.
Yeah, I don't know. I think in some states, in some areas, there needs to be a minimum tax, but my book doesn't even touch on that. My book and what I talk about is all the structural issues. Now, the one policy thing I did mention in there was the property tax, that one thing. But most of it is just how we elect our representatives, how we elect our senators, how we elect our president, how we break down party monopolies so that people, the citizens, can say, here's the policy we want in our state or in the nation, and let that be reflected more where our representatives will listen to them instead of just their donor pool.
Now, let me ask you, why do you feel like more people aren't asking for what you're asking for? Why aren't more people aware of this need?
I think they are. It's just that nothing's out there, and so my contribution to the conversation now is this book. That's what, I've been around 64 years. I've had a varied life doing everything from managing bands to running a promotion company to being in the Navy. to saving buildings. Now I'm sitting here going, okay, here's what I've learned, and here's what I'm sharing. I think this will work better. It doesn't mean every idea is perfect, but it means we need to start having civil conversations about how we govern ourselves better. And this is just me trying to contribute to the and try to cut through the noise and contribute to a real conversation. And so far, people are really reacting positively to it.
Listen, we only have a few minutes left, Mike. I love Thesis 24 and 95, where you propose stricter rules on politicians' income and investments. Yes, yes,
Yep.
yes. How would that build public trust in a few minutes that we have left?
Well, right now, our representatives and senators are using their positions as green rooms for the next biggest job in government. And we need to turn this back into normal citizens, just like yourselves or like me, saying, you know what, I can serve my community up in Washington for 2 years and try to communicate and build part of solutions, and then come back home. And we need to put that ethos in. And there's probably 10 theses that go into how we can help mitigate that sense of power that comes from it versus empowering the sense of service that should go to it. And that's what I'm trying to reiterate.
Well, good luck with that, because I'm not taking 2 years. I'm not taking 2 years off to go work for this town and got to come back, and I'm not even getting paid that much for it. I think that'd be the biggest issue. I think since we live in a capitalist society, that goes along with it. You do great things, you benefit by, in the private sector and the public sector.
But Nancy Pelosi and other politicians allegedly used insider information. I think Mike is not talking about their salaries. He's talking about additional income and their investments. Mike, you got a minute.
Yeah.
Do you want to address that in the minute we have left? Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They need a salary to make their to be able to live and exist, and for the labor they've done. It's about them doing insider trading, taking a retirement plan just because they're in the House or Senate. They should get Social Security just like the rest of us. And this whole thing of when the government shut down and they were still getting paid when other public servants weren't getting paid, they live in a bubble that is their own making. And the more they feel like they're subject to the same issues that we are, they'll govern better. And that's what my book talks about. You need to feel the same thing we feel while you're up there and not be protected on your ivory tower.
Amen. And not use insider information, which is basically
absolutely
unfair, not illegal. Sounds like I love your book, Mike. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, so we have to have you back on because there's so many theses, so many ideas that are in your book we needed to talk about. For more information about Mike and his book, check out MikeBedenbaugh.com. That's Mike, BEDENBAUGH, or much easier is RevivingOurRepublic.com. RevivingOurRepublic.com. Is that right, Mike? Did I get it right?
Yes, that is better, and I'm sorry. Mike Bedenbaugh is too much of a mouthful. RevivingOurRepublic.com. That's the way you can see everything, and I'm also on Amazon.
We'll post links to Mike and his book on our website, Shake It Off Live. Thank you for your service, Mike, and God bless you for service. Today's Pearl Harbor Day, and Alex wanted me to mention that. When we come back, we'll be joined by Chris Najera. He's a certified life coach, public speaker, and author of The Hard Truth, Stopping Alcohol, a bold, eye-opening guide to breaking free from alcohol's grip. He draws on 30 years of life experience, and he combines raw honesty, practical tools, and a passion for helping others to reclaim their lives. Can't wait to chat with him. So we'll be back after the news at the top of the hour, so you'll suffer through a few commercial messages. But once that's all done, Mert, Alex, Gabby, Chris, and I will be back waiting right here for you. We know you want it. We know you want to shake it off with us, and we know you do. So please come back for hour 2. Lots more controversy, maybe some answers. Stay out of fermented grape juice and any other questionable substances, because when we come back, things are about to get sobering in more ways than one.
The preceding hour of programming, sponsored by Shake It Off Live, LLC.